Hey everybody, Gavin here on a Friday night. Hope we're coming through loud and clear. And I just thought, well, let's have a little conversation. I have been blown away as I see the ramping up of the fascism in the States. And the pure, unmitigated Gestapo fascist-like hate. Hey everybody in the live stream, good to see you guys popping in there. The pure unmitigated hate is beyond belief. This idea that because of where someone's government papers are, where they were born, that somehow they don't have rights, that they don't get to work, they don't get to feed their families, they don't get to travel. The unmitigated hypocrisy. I've been doing all these polls over on my page to kind of showcase how hypocritical it's become. I've posted some of those on the stream here, but I've been posting them over on Facebook.com/callmegav. And I'm just blown away. But I was really blown away even more today when I saw this. And let me actually grab the camera here real quick and just show you guys this. Hey everybody, good to see you popping in there. Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. I've got the new phone and I've also got a wireless mic on. But okay, this is a poll I did. This is something that's going on this weekend. And this is true. ICE is planning to break into these homes and kidnap these families to take them to their camps and arrest them. Thousands of families and Trump is on there celebrating this. The so-called patriots are on there celebrating this. So I did this poll out of 500 votes over on my page, half of them, right? Some of them are worse than this, but this one is such an extreme thing. Half of them, look at these comments. I will gladly welcome ICE in my neighborhood and point them to the illegals. My neighbors who are here taking from our programs, great, right? That's the great part of MAGA. If it is a home of an illegal alien, it cannot be a U.S. home. I kind of want to lash out. I'm truly flabbergasted at the level of hatred people have, not just for their neighbor, for the very idea of freedom, for the idea of our Constitution. And so I thought I'd come on here because I know some of the people that watch this channel are those people. They're these fascists, not all that extreme. I understand some of you are in different places and some of you are just like these. Can anyone say 1933 Germany? We literally have the government announcing in the news that it's going to be going out into cities across the USA this weekend to round up families because they do not have permission from government to live. I want you to let that sink in. How is this different in practice, in morals, than 1933 Germany? How can we have learned so absolutely nothing from history that we just keep repeating it and the propaganda goes out and the people waving their flags and saying they're patriots and Christians, they just straight up say, hoorah! And the excuses absolutely boggle my mind. So this is where we're going to do the Q&A part. I don't want to make this go too long. I just had to speak out on this. I have to speak up for the immigrants. God, history, justice will hold us accountable for our silence on the immigrant, the poor, the weak, and I won't be in that camp. What about you? So I want someone to explain to me. See, I've explained lots of times about immigration, right? I've talked about it, I say it's crazy, and everybody always comes back to me and they say, no, Gavin, they're illegal. 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 That's what I hear all freaking day. Okay, so I'm watching the chat. How can an illegal immigrant be possible? How is it possible to be an immigrant, to be a human being that is illegal. In the USA in particular for tonight's conversation, but really anywhere, because Mexico is starting to abuse the immigrants more on behest of the US government as well. So I'm looking for a comment that has any kind of an argument. I'm looking for a rational one, but I'll even address the crazy ones, because I don't think anyone has one. So everybody that thinks, oh, it's dumb, this is irrelevant, it's stupid, I dare you to give me any argument for the idea. I'm so sick of teaching and people ignoring it. You give me one argument for the idea that an illegal immigrant can exist, and we'll debate it right here, right now. I'm looking. See, I on my Facebook page, the group over there, the people over there are a little more rabid. And they're constantly calling me names and a traitor and a crazy. They never make any rational arguments, but they always say, oh, because they're illegal, because they're legal. All right? How can someone be illegal? In this world, in your country. Okay. Dennis says there are laws to immigrate. When you don't follow the laws, you're illegal. Okay. To do something illegal means it has to be unlawful. There can be any number of statutes that the government makes up. So I'm going to hit this from 2 points. Number one, it's false. Let's just take it from the top point for the USA for now. And Mexico, this applies to. The Constitution forbids the restriction of immigration. So the people that are screaming, it's the law, they're liars. They don't care about law. They're the ones breaking the law. The Constitution of the United States forbids any form of immigration restriction, of any travel restriction. The government has no authority whatsoever over immigration. If anyone has an argument for that, let's hear it. Otherwise, next. It's worth noting that a law being on the books is also irrelevant. The Jews and many other people in Germany were also illegal, right? Did that make it okay? Did that make them actually criminals? People say, well, they're here illegally. They're criminals. Here's the one I love. Caleb says, let's just let the terrorists in. That is the stupidest, most uneducated, ignorant argument that I can possibly think of other than, do you lock your doors at night? Let's just let the terrorist in. The immigration restrictions and psychoticness that we have in place now does not stop drug trafficking, the drug war shouldn't even be a thing. It doesn't stop terrorism. The terrorists are the ones in your police cars and running your government. So the idea that a restriction on entering the country and getting papers would stop someone who has the resources and the backing to be a terrorist is completely irrational. And it's also not an argument. It's a straw man. Stephen says, let's compare it to France. Open borders and terrorists have ruined the country. Total BS. Open borders have nothing to do with the ruining of the country. In fact, once again, returning us to history, the founding fathers demanded open borders. See, nobody's presenting arguments. I asked a question, not for straw man hyperbole. How can a human being be illegal? Answer the question, you fascists. How can a person be illegal? You were born in a particular place. Were your rights endowed by a grant of the government? Were they endowed by your social security number? Were they endowed by the existence of a birth certificate? Yes or no? See, this is the absolute hypocrisy of it all, because the worst of these fascists claim to be patriots. And they want all these rights for them. They want to be left alone by government. They say, how dare the government look at our papers. And then they say, but they have no rights because they don't have papers. Do the papers grant your rights or not? How can a human being be illegal? But more so, Karch says, you're a joke, mate. There are laws. You're right, Karch. There are laws, and I just mentioned those. Did you notice no one had an answer for me? The Constitution of the United States, which is the highest law of the United States, forbids restriction of immigration or control of immigration in any fashion by the government. That is the law. Aside from the moral aspects, so we're covering two aspects here. One is the actual law of the USA, in this case, which is the Constitution. The other is the fact that rights are not granted. Are you guys seeing the comments in here? Spider says you're delusional. See, these people have never studied this. I've lost my mind. See, I'm presenting actual constitutional facts. I'm talking about human rights. I'm talking about, do you have rights? Do they exist? Can no one debate me? Is this really where we are? All people can say to me is I'm delusional. This is all I get all day long, guys. You're delusional. You've lost it. You're a traitor. You hate America. Some of them even say, oh, you must hate the Constitution if you don't want immigrants deported. What are you talking about? The Constitution of the United States is what forbids immigration restriction. It forbids detention, camps, deportations, all of it. Does anyone have an argument again? I made the two key arguments. One is based on human rights, which no one can answer. If you have the right to live and exist, then why does the other person from across your line in the sand? I'm not saying that borders shouldn't exist at all, so we have a sense of sovereignty and separation. But the idea that you can't cross a border is complete and pure fascism. We've gone from the 1980s, where Ronald Reagan, who was not my favorite person ever, I mean, he started the drug war, or at least had a great part in it, but he said, tear down this wall. Now everyone's screaming, build a wall. And please, for those that are saying you're unsubscribing, please unsubscribe if you think families should be rounded up by ICE because they don't have permission from government to leave. I do not need you here. I never started this channel or my page because I was going to try and win the popularity contest. And I sure haven't. I am railed on and hated by everyone across the entire world. And I don't get it. Other than Jesus said I would be. I guess I get that. I'm just trying to love my neighbor. I'm trying to look and I see a poor woman or man or family or anyone being abused and I say, that's wrong. And they say, no, it's the law. And I say, no, it's not the law. Okay, I'm watching the comments now. You guys hearing okay? Let me know. I've got the mic hooked up here. Okay, so I've covered every argument so far. It might have fell down. Here's my little mic here, my little wireless. Let me put it on the outside so it won't fall down. There, we'll try it there. Okay, sorry. This part right here, this is the microphone. It probably fell down against me. Okay, so Most Fearless says I need to answer the question. What is the question I'm supposed to answer? Most Fearless, repeat the question, Most Fearless. See, people keep saying like I'm ignoring the arguments, I'm ignoring the question. No, I'm not. They're not presenting. Saying things like, should we just let terrorists in? That's not argument. That's not an argument. That's not how you have a debate. And Stephen, I recognize Article 1, Section 8 had some serious issues. I'm not saying the USA was perfect on its founding by any means, but citizenship has nothing to do with immigration, and neither does naturalization. So I won't get into that tonight. We certainly abuse people early on. And you're right, Eugene, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization. I've explained this many times, but thank you for bringing it up. Naturalization, and you can look it up in the dictionary, and I have studied every line in some of the most obscure records like the journals of the First Congress to make sure that that's correct. First of all, the meaning of naturalization is becoming a citizen. It has nothing to do with entry. And the Founding Fathers made that 100% clear when they talked about it. In fact, it was even discussed on the floor that Congress had no authority over who entered the country in passing. It was never on the table. It was never a consideration. At one point, one of the congressmen actually made kind of a joke about it and then said, but no, we don't have that authority. One of the one of the things in the Declaration, one of the objections to the king, one of the reasons we fought the revolution was immigration restriction. So the founding fathers, they not only didn't allow for immigration restriction in the Constitution, they went to war. They had a revolution, and one of the reasons was to stop immigration restriction. People have no idea the level they have been brainwashed by the NWO. The NWO, the elites, whatever you want to call them, they don't want they don't want your borders open. They want you locked in your prisons. All right? Let me know if the mic's too hot. I can turn it down a little bit on this one, but I think I got it dialed in. Okay, so somebody said they had an argument. I addressed the naturalization one. Hello, everybody. I see you guys in there. DN, 2 tacos, come on down. Yes, come on down to Mexico. Tacos are good here. And I will fix that spelling mistake when we're done. Glad the new mic streaming here on the front camera of the S10, and I've got the new Rode wireless Go system. Very, very handy little wireless mic, okay? Looking for a question. How is it possible for an immigrant to be illegal? Everybody's saying, oh, it's okay that they're rounding them up. It's okay to deport them. It's okay to destroy their lives. It's okay to deny them refugee status. See, the problem is people keep moving the line out. All right, people keep moving the line out. Most Fearless keep saying he asked a question, but I haven't seen it. If you're asking a question and it's not getting answered, you're going to have to repeat it. The stream goes by pretty fast. Okay. So what? What do we do? See, people are saying, no, we just want them to come legally, but that's actually a lie. The same people that are supporting all this fascism, the same people that are reporting all this fascism are not wanting them to come here legally either, because it's perfectly legal for them to apply for asylum, and they're supposed to be given protection during that process. They don't want that. They don't actually want them legal. They're flaming racists. That's all they are. All right? Most Fearless, you keep saying you asked a question, but I haven't seen it. So final warning. If you want to ask the question, ask the question. Otherwise, stop saying you've asked the question. I think we've covered it. I think I'm about to wrap it up. I like to keep these around 20 minutes. All right. They should be declared illegal and legal because I'll give you an example. Jesus says, we had illegal immigrants trash and rob our neighborhoods. We need a way to identify them. Okay. Let me understand if I understand what you're saying. You think people should have no right to travel, no right to anonymity, and no right to privacy. You're not talking about immigrants. You're talking about everybody here. An immigrant is no different. Anyone can rob your houses and trash your neighborhood. So you're saying that everyone needs to be tracked. Or are you only saying, I just want to clarify that. Does everyone need to be tracked to avoid bad guys trashing your neighborhood? Or is it only brown people that need to be tracked because you are suspicious of them? I just want to clarify that before we continue with that argument. Jonathan says about Mexico following the lead. Yes, the U.S. is directly bullying Mexico. They're threatening to raise tariffs on them if they don't abuse the immigrants more. And it's disgusting. It makes me sick. The politicians are selling out. I did a video about this the other day. You can go watch. Understand they're not near as aggressive about it, even with this, as the USA is, not even remotely. In fact, in one of their detention camps, something like 1,000 immigrants broke out of one of their detention camps this week because they were like, screw that. So they had been stopping people at the border and putting them, I don't want to say a camp. It's not like here where they hold you indefinitely in a camp. In Mexico, generally, if someone does get deported, they just send them back. It's a very calm process. And I believe detention centers should not exist at all for this, okay? But as I understand it, if they have, for example, in the South right now, I think they're using a fairgrounds, and it's an open air detention area for people that can either A, be sent back, but I believe the idea is if they want to apply for asylum, it's where they go to wait pending their application. And once they enter their application, they're supposed to be released and be able to move about. So they're not detained. It's not like the USA where they're detained for years while you apply for refugee status. I know that for a fact. That's not the way that system works, okay? But I am appalled at that they're basically saying, okay, we'll do whatever you want, USA, even though they're not. They're kind of brown-nosing each other, and the Honduran border is not closed. You can still go back and forth on an inner tube if you want. It's happening all day long, but they are abusing more people down there, and it's very offensive. It's disgusting, frankly, to see immigration officials down here. Understand there's no ICE in Mexico. They don't have a culture of deporting people. The border between Mexico and Guatemala has been open forever, right? And in a large extent, it still is, but you have these thugs down there that the USA is sponsoring to do this. So yeah, check out my other video on that. Okay, it looks like the people that were saying they were asking questions that didn't actually ask questions. They were just trying to pretend they had an argument when they didn't. I haven't seen any new arguments from them. So before we wrap up tonight, I asked for people to explain to me. I asked for people to explain to me how it's possible to be an illegal immigrant. How it's possible to be illegal. How is it possible for it to be moral to deport people, to raid their houses? A few people, I think we had like 1 or 2 or 3 arguments, all of which I addressed with facts, with the Constitution. Most Fearless says, does our Constitution apply to immigration? Which I answered, the Constitution forbids immigration. It gives the government only authority over naturalization, nothing more. And it also forbids detaining someone in their travel in the 4th Amendment. It also restricts anything else except the naturalization in the 9th and 10th Amendments, because those restrict to only the things specifically delegated to Congress. All right, so I've answered that again. Immigration restriction is illegal, and I've been saying this over and over again. Everybody screams at me, Gavin, the immigrants are illegal, the immigrants are illegal. No, you're illegal when you detain an immigrant because they have a right to travel. There is no such thing as an illegal immigrant, and nobody here can make an argument to validate the fact that the concept of an illegal immigrant can exist either in natural law and human rights or specifically in our Constitution. And it's the same actually in the Constitution of Mexico. I don't know how they get around that. They're doing the same BS. The Constitution of Mexico specifically says that you do not need documents to travel in the Republic. Simple as that. So guys, do you feel like, for those of you in the chat, have I sufficiently argued any point that was made, even some of them that were not very well made? Have I addressed any point, right? Because people are going to say, oh no, they're still illegal, they're still illegal. Have I proven that there are no illegals? And if not, what is your argument? Okay, here's we have all the loyalists in there, and they're like, no, you haven't. If I have not proven the argument's made wrong, what is the argument that I have not proven wrong that allows the idea of illegals to be relevant? Anybody? I'm just going to give you guys a few more seconds. The Founding Fathers demanded open borders. And if you notice that all the fascists in here, see, people say, oh, you're against borders. A country has to have borders. A country has to have laws. You're right. The law says you can't restrict immigration. That's what the law in the USA says. No one's arguing at this point whether the border should exist at all, whether there should be an actual geographic boundary for that area. I understand that. The idea that a border exists, therefore you should abuse people that cross it, is utterly ridiculous. Again, it's a non-argument. I've been asking for 24 minutes now for an argument, not hyperbole, not immigrants are dangerous, not we can't let terrorists in, not NWO propaganda, but one shred of an argument for any of this. And Eugene, yes, I have researched this extensively, including every word that I can find that the Founding Fathers addressed on it. If you look on my Steemit, if you search for "There Are No Illegal Immigrants," Gavin Symes, Steemit, something like that, it will come up. I have some more papers that I'm working on this. But the bottom line, if you dig into it, and I have, you cannot find one shred of even a concept that immigration should be restricted. Alexis, thank you very much. Some tacos there, I appreciate it. Yeah. I'll take the fam to tacos. Okay, so Kurt says I'm avoiding the question. I'm waiting for your question, Kurt. I'm right here, buddy. I am right here. This is a debate, and I am addressing the arguments of the debate. And I want to make sure I do that to your full satisfaction, because that's what I'm here for. Nobody? Nobody? I've tried to address. I can't keep it on forever, guys. All right? Can't keep it on forever. I've noticed that one of the taxes is to say they've presented an argument, right? Kurt says the economy can't handle too many at one time, okay? This is an argument people make. There's two sides to this. One, you're a socialist, and this goes back to the post I showed earlier here from the poll I did. People said, they're taking our programs. They're taking our programs. What they mean is that they're taking my socialism, okay? So if your argument is that immigrants will destroy the economy, you're a socialist. Because number one, immigrants contribute more in taxes and of course in work to the economy than they take out by a large margin. And it's been factually verified that immigrants pay more in taxes than they take out in welfare. I mean, even if they're not paying income tax, they're paying gas tax, food tax. The amount of taxes we pay in the USA is absolutely insane. So if your argument is the economy can't handle it, then either one, you're ignorant of economics, or two, you're a socialist. Okay? The economy can handle immigration at pretty much any volume, right? In fact, there were single days in Ellis Island, New York. Ellis Island alone. You see these things on the news and they're like, 80,000 immigrants have come in this month. You guys realize that's not that big of a deal. There were single days in Ellis Island where 12,000 people immigrated in the 1930s, 1937, I think. Maybe it was 27. All right, it was some of the biggest days. So that would be equivalent to like 300,000 people per month. So next time somebody makes the argument, oh, but there's so many coming in, that's nonsense. When people are coming in, they're working, they're buying, they're trading. That's called economics. When people are doing those things, economics are flowing. What's destroying the economics of the USA is socialism, controls, government regulations, government price controls, and restricting the immigration. Our economy was vastly better, even if you go back to the 90s, when immigrants were, yes, there was abuse, but everybody was fine with immigrants, documented or no, coming in to work on the farms and do the labor and things like that so they could make some money. Nobody cared, okay? Even the conservative right-wing good old boy farmers and non-farmers, they were happy about it, right? Oh, it's good. These guys work hard, they said. I remember them saying it. I remember them talking about it. I don't care if they're illegal, they said. They're hard workers. They work harder than the local boys. So yeah, economic argument, non-existent. You're a socialist, and then you got bigger problems. But if you're a socialist and you're afraid of them taking your programs, yeah, that's not the immigrants' problem. And B, the immigrants, that's not actually the problem in the USA. The immigrants are contributing more than they take out. C, they have the right to travel and work and live. And B, if you'd stop screwing around with the immigrants and allowing the government socialism, the economy would thrive with immigrants. That's how economics works. This is fundamental, logical, Austrian-style economics, guys. All right? Yes, there's enough jobs all at once. It's called economics, Kurt. You should look it up. When you have 1,000 people that come into a city and 20 of those people start selling food and 100 of those people go to work at the factory and 100 of those people start little shops, pretty soon all those people are trading and buying with themselves. It's called economics. There's no such thing. They disperse to where the economics are. If the government's not controlling the travel and the trade, they go where the money is. They go where the work is. They migrate around in the area. they move. Have you noticed all the arguments they can make, guys? I came here for a real argument. I came here ready for a real argument. The best they can say is, shut up, Gavin. Gavin, you're delusional. Coemito. Gracias. México es bonito, pero necesito restrictan la gobierno en México. No más abuso de la pobre y los inmigrantes. All right, guys, anything else? Let me ask again. Have I rebutted every argument that was presented? Have I shut it down and nailed it to the wall? Is there such a thing as illegal immigrants? I say no. I say no. I'm still looking for any last-minute debates. I tried to come here calmly. I'm angry at the abuse. I'm very frustrated. But I've tried to, despite the fact that, sure, I'm a bit snarky because I hear these arguments all day, every day, and they're so dead end. Nobody's actually researched what they're arguing. But I've tried to really fairly argue every point that's been made, okay? And most of what the people can say when I ask this question is, I ask something. Now, you notice the fascists, their minds haven't changed, but hopefully some of you are thinking this through. The freedom haters, the socialists, the fascists, they love Adolf. They love the Fuhrer. They worship at his feet. And all they can say to those people that call it out and say, this is wrong, this is lawless, all they can say is, you're the enemy. So we'll block the trolls. We'll allow the people with arguments to make them, and I've answered them to the best of my ability. They all have the same argument. The same argument is my free stuff, my fascist, my president, my fears. And I've explained why there's no such thing as an illegal immigrant, not just in the USA, but anywhere in the world on a human rights level. You have a right to exist, period. And anyone who argues against that, you have to then admit that you don't believe you have rights inherently, that government grants them. Because a person, because of where they were born, their rights can only be dictated based on where they were born if government in a given area grants the rights. If rights are inherent, natural, God-given, whatever you prefer, then government can't give them in the first place. And the other side of the argument being that the Constitution, in the United States in particular, also in Mexico, forbids restricting immigration and travel. And the US Constitution and the founders were quite implicit on this. One of the objections in the Declaration of Independence was that the king was restricting immigration to the colonies. And that was one of the reasons we went and had the war. So for the people pretending they're constitutionalists, patriots, founding father lovers, they're not. The founding fathers would have been going to war with these people. These fascists that we see in the chat tonight, they would have been wearing red coats, 100%, and waving the king's pennant from their window while they threw their panties down to the passing soldiers. That's what these people saying, the immigrants are the problem. The immigrants are taking from me. The immigrants are terrorists. You're the terrorists. You're the criminals. You're the freedom haters. You're the ones that don't love justice, Jesus, your neighbor, common sense, economics, a free country, or your children. Because you will not put aside your confirmation bias, your pure pride and arrogance that says I'm better because of where I was born. The real reason you will not put that aside is because you have to believe that you're better. It's all you have, because you certainly don't have freedom in the United States. So guys, what you just witnessed here was a rational argument. I've stayed calm with all the haters, but I'm going to be very firm as always. I don't need to name call. I'm just going to call them the fascists that they are, because by definition, they are fascists. We're repeating Germany, again, in the USA. And it's going down. I've cited the Constitution, I've cited the human rights, and I've cited logic. But do not try arguing logic with a patriot. For all of you in here that want to continue this, you can put it in the comments after we're done. I know none of you people that are calling me names can make an argument. That's why all you can do is call me names. You say things like, stop lying, shut up, you're an idiot, you're a tool, right? All these people, this is their argument. I just want to point this out to everybody watching this chat. The argument of the people against the facts that I've presented on human rights, the Constitution, the law, and immigration, including our history all the way back to the discussions of the Founding Fathers, is that I'm stupid. Let that sink in. All right, you guys. Maybe we'll do this debate again. I'll let you guys, maybe we can debate a variant of it, or again, another time. We'll let the fascists try and buck up on their history a little bit. And for those of you, I'm being hard on the hardcore fascists here who cannot have a rational discussion. For those of you who've been on the fence, who didn't really think about this, I get it. I was there too. I used to believe the propaganda. I used to believe that we had to restrict the immigration because some of them were bad. Immigration restrictions don't stop terrorists. Immigration restrictions oppress and abuse the poor and enslave society and turn our nation into a prison. It really is that simple. Hola, Dolores, adogo. Me gusta adogo. Adogo es muy bonita. Es muy verde. Okay, you guys, have a good night. Love your neighbor. Spread this. Share this message. Ask people directly. Wait, prove to me. They keep saying they're illegal, they're illegal. Wait, stop. Hard stop. Prove it. Stop saying people are illegal unless you can prove it. Because you certainly can't prove it in U.S. law because the Constitution says they're not. All right, you guys, have a good night. Be safe. Resist.